Those stories and much more next on News 8.
Exciting news from Tony McCune. Our 83s from Chrysler are here in abundance. Tons of trailer loads are on their way. What's more exciting? From this day on, McCune is dealing on 83s. Maybe that's another reason why McCune is one of the largest volume Chrysler dealers on earth. Maybe you'll save enough to buy a fur coat, even as nice as hers. McCune Chrysler Plymouth, National City Mile of cars.
Now is the time of your life. Reach out and touch it. Remind yourself you're alive. And share the excitement with someone you love. We've got bright lights. We've got sunshine too. We've got the stuff that dreams are made of. Vegas is waiting for you. No one does it better. No one does it better.
It's exit time at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. So more Chryslers and Plymouths will exit our showrooms and make way for next year's models. We're Xing out the old prices on sporty Plymouth Turismo, front-wheel drive Plymouth Reliant K, beautiful Chrysler LeBaron, and luxurious Chrysler New Yorker. And they're all backed by our 550 three-way protection plan. X marks the spot for saving right now at your San Diego County Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
This is KFMB, Channel 8, San Diego. John Kalia, Hal Clement on sports, Doug Oliver with the weather. This is the weekend edition of News 8.
Good evening. At this hour, National City homicide detectives are continuing their investigation into the murder of a 75-year-old National City man. The body of John Dupree was discovered late yesterday afternoon by his son, Robert. Dupree was lying in a pool of blood inside the house he had lived in most of his life. Police tell us that Dupree had been shot more than once.
At this time, we're working it as a burglary homicide. There's evidence of a break-in, and we have certain items missing from the house. We've canvassed the neighborhood and have gained some information that we are following up presently. We still have officers inside the house processing it for evidence.
Police say they are working on several leads, but at this time, no suspects are in custody. 3 San Diego County teenagers are dead tonight, victims of a one-car rollover in Bonita. The car went over the edge of Otay Lakes Road shortly before midnight last night. The driver managed to escape the accident with only minor injuries. Randy Copps and Thomas Carmichael, both 16, were pronounced dead at Chula Vista Community Hospital last night. A third victim, 15-year-old John Crawford, was rushed by the Life Flight helicopter to University Hospital, where he died early this morning. The wait is almost over tonight for the 160 applicants who've been camping out in Balboa Park for more than a week. Applications to San Diego's Fire Academy will be accepted tomorrow morning. More from News 8's Jesse Macias.
Many of these young men and women have invested nearly 200 hours waiting in line just for the opportunity to apply for the Firefighting Academy course, which is one step closer to becoming a San Diego firefighter. Saturday night, several of the applicants put their time to good use by helping San Diego police search for a missing boy in Balboa Park. The boy eventually returned to his parents' hotel room on his own, but the search was good experience for those involved. Meanwhile, on the last full day of waiting, people high on the list of being enrolled in the academy were glad they waited so long.
Yeah, this is my third year trying for the fire department. Actually, this is the farthest I've gotten so far, and I'd like to make it all the way this year.
The first 90 men and women in the line couldn't be happier with the current arrangement of first come, first served. But that enthusiasm isn't exactly shared by the other applicants who are farther down the list. Scott Johnson and others in his group are near the bottom of the sign-up sheet.
This first come, first serve is not fair for everybody. You know, it was really, I think that they could have came up with a better system, like maybe go by test scores or best physical time on the physical test or something, you know. Draw names out of a hat.
Only 20 people have dropped out of the line during the past 8 days. The applications will be accepted starting 8 o'clock Monday morning. Jesse Macias, News 8, Balboa Park.
Firefighters are having trouble bringing a 3,500-acre brush fire under control. The fire is raging on the slopes of Mount Helena just north of San Francisco and threatens Napa Valley vineyards. Officials say the fire was 25% contained earlier this afternoon, but gusty winds got things going again, and they can no longer predict when it will be fully contained. A support group of forestry officials from San Diego are among 1,000 firefighters on the lines. A Los Angeles apartment fire has claimed its 23rd victim. 22-year-old Martina De La Torre died today from burns suffered in a pre-dawn fire at the Dorothy May apartment hotel a week ago. De La Torre's sister Marcella is still listed in critical condition at USC Medical Center with second and third degree burns over 90% of her body. The cause of the fire still not known. More than 50 thrifty drugstores in the Los Angeles area have removed eye drops from store shelves tonight. This action after a customer complained that her eyes burned after using Murine Plus eye drops purchased at a San Dimas store. The woman was not seriously injured, but store officials say the drops will be analyzed to determine what caused the injury. Last month, Alpha Beta supermarkets in the same area had a similar problem when acid was found in 4 bottles of eye drops. The new 20-year plan for Balboa Park was unveiled a few weeks ago. It proposes changes for the park, but according to Deputy Mayor Lucy Calais, whose district includes the park, many of her constituents are opposed to some of the ideas. News 8's Lorraine Kimmel with that story.
The new plan addresses problems like how to make it easier to get in and out of Balboa Park, how to improve parking without taking away park land. Among the changes proposed in the new master plan, making 28th and Yupa streets into major 4-lane streets, and taking the 9-hole golf course and returning it to parkland. Even though these are proposals that would have to be approved by City Council, Deputy Mayor Lucy Calais says many of her constituents are concerned.
They know Balboa Park as it is, and I think if we were starting from scratch and designing a park, perhaps these are some of the ways it should be done. But when you're taking a park that has been here for so many decades, really a long, long time, and the people know it and love it the way it is, it's very difficult to make major changes. I'm also concerned about the cost of doing that.
Calais says she hasn't reviewed the details of the plan. She says she is sure that some of the proposals are valid, although she would like to see a breakdown of what the changes like road improvements would cost. Tomorrow, people will get a chance to air their views on the proposed changes to the park at the first of a series of public hearings on the new master plan. Those hearings will take a few months. Following them, it will be decided whether the plan needs some major revisions or whether it should go on to City Council, which must ultimately approve any changes to the park. Lorraine Kimmel, News 8, Balboa Park.
When News 8 continues, we'll have the latest on that bus train accident in Switzerland that killed 39 people. We'll tell you about a pioneer San Diego aviator who died last night, and we'll take you to what may be the largest Stravinsky festival ever assembled. It was in San Diego today, so stay with us.
Safeway has lowered prices. We've always brought you guaranteed quality and great selection. Now we bring it to you for less. Take a closer look at Safeway and check out our lower prices.
Take a closer look at Safeway.
When you hear what we're about to say, you'll see why we have to put a time limit on it. Buick is making available cash incentives of $500 to $900 on front-wheel drive Skylark, Century, and Skyhawk. If you've been waiting for that one offer that really makes sense, this is it. A closeout price plus a cash incentive of up to $900. This year, closeout time is even more special because of cash incentives of up to $900 at your San Diego County Buick dealer. This is the offer of the year. Don't miss it.
Attention, all personnel.
I have an announcement. In fact, the entire crew of the 4077 has an announcement. Channel 8 now presents a full hour of MASH. Wow! Starting Monday, you'll see 2 episodes of MASH each weekday beginning at 4. What do you think of that?
Bravo! I love it! This is full-scale practical joking to the finish.
So experience a full hour of the mad capillarity and heart-touching drama that make the 4077 such a special place. Beginning Monday at 4 on MASH.
Police say the signal barriers at the train crossing were not down, and with that, a bus carrying West German soccer fans was smashed by a passenger train near Zurich, Switzerland. The wreckage burst into flames. 39 of the 40 passengers aboard the bus were killed. 9 people were injured, including the woman whose duty it was to lower the warning barrier. The accident happened 12 miles south of Zurich. Meantime, few answers are given in that U.S. Army helicopter crash yesterday in Mannheim, West Germany. The death toll is now 46. The chopper lost a rotor blade and crashed during an air show. Most on board, including 8 Americans, were expert parachutists, and some may have tried to jump to safety as the aircraft went down. Some bodies were found a distance from the wreckage with partially open chutes. The man whose San Diego Aircraft Company built Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis died quietly in his sleep last night. T. Claude Ryan, founder of Teledyne Ryan, died at his San Diego home. Ryan, a pioneer aviator, was active in his senior years. Here he's shown flying a sailplane he was developing into Lindbergh Field 5 years ago. T. Claude Ryan, a giant in aviation, dead at 84. Tonight at 11, we'll have more on his life. San Diego police believe they have the Crown Royale robber in custody tonight. 26-year-old Richard Lewis was caught today as he allegedly tried to rob a Point Loma store. He's suspected of robbing at least 12 businesses in that area since July. Lewis is called the Crown Royale robber because police say he stashes the money he steals in a Crown Royale whiskey bag. A 13-foot pet python is back home with its owner tonight. Body was found in the backyard of a North Hollywood home this weekend. His owner, George Harding, said he wasn't surprised the 70-pound serpent had left home, but didn't notice Monty was missing because he often hides. Harding said during a previous adventure outside, Monty the snake ate Harding's pet cat and came back a foot longer. It's billed as the largest gathering of its kind, an international event to honor the father of modern classical music, Igor Stravinsky. It's going on at UCSD, and News 8's Lorraine Kimmel was there.
Charles Rosen playing Stravinsky, one of a group of celebrated musicians, composers, and historians who have come to La Jolla to pay tribute to the Russian-born composer, to discuss his techniques, his effect on music, and to listen. Like his contemporary Picasso did with paint and paper, Stravinsky broke away from the traditions of classical music with violent, brutal, primitive compositions that had never before been heard. So radical was his Rite of Spring, premiered in Paris in 1913, that the audience rioted, throwing anything at the stage that wasn't nailed down. Stravinsky is now considered the greatest composer of the 20th century. What was once considered savage, now acknowledged as modern classical music.
And if there's a composer that the public doesn't like, but musicians like, they'll go on trying to play it and trying to convince the public anyway. They haven't had any difficulty about Stravinsky. The public is largely convinced that Stravinsky is a very great man. Most people think he's the greatest composer of the 20th century.
Stravinsky would likely have been pleased with the locale of the tribute. He lived in California for a long while, but he may not have agreed with the occasion. Stravinsky always said he detested birthdays. Lorraine Kimmel, News 8, La Jolla.
The Chargers on tune and most convincing in Denver today. Hal is along next with highlights, plus a look at other NFL action that included some upsets.
A bedtime story from Gaviscon Antacid. Once there was a guy who loved poker and pizza, and he was really good at eating pizza. But the stakes were high. Heartburn. Fortunately, there was help.
Gaviscon.
Gaviscon gives you fast relief from heartburn and acid indigestion, and it works lying down.
See you and raise you, pepperoni.
Try Gaviscon. It works lying down.
The dog Herb sells Isuzu trucks for the lowest prices in town. Can't beat that.
Right now, we're really dealing on Isuzus.
This Isuzu diesel delivers more miles a tank full, a bigger payload, and more truck for your dollar than Datsun or Toyota. Your only problem is deciding where you get the best Isuzu deal.
I give all my Isuzus away for nothing, but my accountant won't let me.
Right now, your San Diego County Isuzu dealers are having a huge closeout sale on all Isuzus.
The Kohl's family invites you to save on all your floor and window coverings at Kohl's Carpets. You can choose from over 2,000 rolls of beautiful quality carpet and vinyls, not samples, so you're certain of how it looks and how it feels on top of Kohl's exclusive cushion padding. Take all the guesswork out by matching actual vinyls, hardwoods, tiles, and drapes with Kohl's designer staff. Kohl's Carpets since 1947 has meant satisfaction, so visit Kohl's today in San Diego and San Marcos.
In thousands of homes all over San Diego this week, life will be a bit more tranquil. Moms and dads won't yell at the kids as much. Nice way to get the season started.
Lots of smiles, very pleasant. Of course, the Chargers won the way they always do, with defense. I mean, that's their hallmark, right? What a great start to beat the Broncos and beat them in Denver. The final, Chargers 23, Broncos 3. And the Chargers won it really by playing Bronco-type football, defense and forcing turnovers. Denver's first offensive play, Craig Morton to Dave Preston, nice gain, but Preston hit by Lyndon King and David Lewis, fumbles, Chargers recover. Denver turned it over 6 times. That does make a difference. Ralph Benershka, 50-yard field goal, and it was 3-0 Chargers. In the second quarter, Rich Karlis tied it up for Denver. He kicked a 41-yarder, and it was 3-3. And then it was all Chargers. The Charger offense here, Dan Fouts to Wes Chandler. Fouts didn't have a great day. He had an efficient day, maybe. Certainly good enough. No interceptions. Then it was Fouts to Charlie Joyner. The Chargers had 1st and goal at the Denver 4. But a holding penalty pushed him back a little bit. On 3rd down, Fouts to Chandler incomplete. Denver Steve Foley fractured his forearm, breaking up the play. Right there, Foley gets hit, and he was in pain. Chargers had to settle for a 25-yarder by Rolfe, and they led for good 6-3. Some more defense with Denver driving. Morton to Rick Upchurch, but Dewey Selman and Bob Greger hit him. Upchurch fumbled. Chargers recovered. It stayed 6-3 at the half. Third quarter, Morton passing and another turnover. Greger, who had a good game with the interception. Chargers playing defense the way the Broncos do. The turnovers, the big plays. Then it was Fouts to Chandler for a 33-yard gain. Nice move by Chandler and a late hit by Denver at the end of this play. And Rolfe, once again, good day for the critters at the zoo, huh? 40 yards, 9-3 Chargers. And now we've got some more defensive highlights. We're showing as much defense as offense today. Greger lays a hit on Riley Odoms here. Hard hit. Another turnover. Andre Young intercepts, fumbles, but the Chargers keep it. Bad day all around for Denver. Steve DeBerg warmed up on the sidelines, hit his receiver in the face. I mean, it was a bad day for the Broncos. Chargers then put together a 7-minute drive. Chandler played a little halfback, got a nice gain. And then finally a Charger touchdown. Fouts 18-yarder to Scott Fitzke. Nice play. Go ahead and spike it, Scott. No, really, it's okay. Go ahead, spike it. Yes, sir, 16-3. Fourth quarter, the Chargers, one mistake, really. Maury Buford's punt was blocked by Rob Lytle. Broncos drove down to the 3-yard line. Rick Parris fumbled. Chargers recovered in the end zone. Turnover number 6. And then just to cap a delightful afternoon in Denver, Fouts to Chandler, beautiful throw, nice catch. Actually, the weather was crummy, but the game was real nice. Chuck Muncie in for the touchdown from 10 yards out, 23-3. Only the Chargers' second win in 15 years in Denver. It was sweet. Other NFL scores. The Raiders beat San Francisco. Marcus Allen rushed for over 100 yards, scored a touchdown. Atlanta got by the Giants. Cincinnati, easy win over Houston. Green Bay, great comeback, beat the Rams. Minnesota beating Tampa Bay. Detroit over Chicago. Buffalo took Kansas City. St. Louis beating New Orleans. Washington got by Philadelphia in overtime. New England beat Baltimore. Miami outscored the Jets easily. Cleveland down Seattle. Some highlights. The Rams built up a 23-0 lead over the Packers and lost. Lynn Dickey to a familiar fella here, John Jefferson. You've seen that before. 50-yard gain for the Packers. And then Dickey to another rather good receiver, James Lofton. Touchdown. The Packers beating the Rar. Get this man an oxygen mask. He's running out of gas here, but in for the touchdown. The Redskins upsetting the Eagles. Joe Theismann was hot. A touchdown to Art Monk. Another touchdown pass to Charlie Brown. Snoopy was nowhere to be seen. The Dolphins got a great... Jimmy Connors won the U.S. Open today. He beat Yvonne Lendl soundly in 4 sets. Connors took the first 2 sets, 6-3, 6-2. He's in the far court here. He has Lendl's number, I guess. He's beaten him 9 out of 10 times now. But Lendl came back to win the 3rd set, 6-4. Marvelous point here. This shows everything good about Yvonne Lendl's game. The great forehand, the agility. And look at the get here. Nice. But Connors was not to be denied, as they say. He won the 4th set here, 6-4, to win his 4th U.S. Open. He was all over the court. Nice passing shot. And he was fired up. When Connors gets close to a big win, the juices really start to flow. And this man is excited and ready to win. And here is match point. Connors has now won both Wimbledon and the U.S. Open in 1982. That's not a bad year. The Padres had the day off, but they still lost ground to Atlanta. The Braves scored 2 in the 9th to beat Cincinnati, so the Padres now 6 games back. The Dodgers also won New York down St. Louis. Pittsburgh beat Philadelphia. Montreal took Chicago. American League. The Yankees won. Cleveland a winner. Boston over Detroit. The Angels beating Toronto. Kansas City easy win over Minnesota. Oakland beat Chicago, and Seattle shut out Texas. In golf, Bob Gilder won the men's tournament. Sandra Spuzic won the women's tournament. That's it.
Good. Doug Oliver looking ahead to Monday's forecast next.
If the time has come for you to purchase a Mercedes-Benz, come and visit Hohen Motors in Carlsbad. More Mercedes-Benz are sold here than anywhere else in San Diego County. It's a place built around a special automobile and the people who drive them. You'll find a very impressive selection of cars and very impressive service. Come and see for yourself. Hohen Motors, exclusively Mercedes-Benz. Interstate 5 at Palomar Airport Road. You'll like their way of dealing with people.
Stephanie Edwards here at Food Basket's dairy plant, home of award-winning Lady Lee milk. Here, Lady Lee milk is received from selected dairies and processed under the most rigid standards. It's bottled into Lady Lee cartons and minutes later loaded onto Food Basket trucks. Within hours, it's in the dairy cases of your local Food Basket. Now that's freshness, the same freshness you'll find in all Lady Lee dairy products. For quality and savings, remember Lady Lee, another basic value from Food Basket, the discount supermarket.
Now, RC gives America something it's always wanted, a choice. Because now, there are two delicious ways to be caffeine-free. Regular decaffeinated RC and sugar-free RC 100. Both caffeine-free and delicious. We thought you'd approve.
If you heard it, that big splash at La Jolla Cove today was caused by more than 1,000 people braving the water there to compete in the 52nd annual Rough Water Swim. Since the people taking part ranged in age from 5 to 60, the event is in 3 categories, junior, senior, and for the old pros, master. Those 12 and under swam a 250-yard course. The rest had to go a mile. Clay Wellborn of Coronado was the first to cross the finish line, making it in 23 minutes, 5 seconds. Karen LeBerg was the first woman finisher, but not much sun there for the people to see. Broken promises, huh, Kemosabe?
Yeah, you noticed, huh? I have a scapegoat. Her name is Flo, our old friend Onshore Flo. I don't know what went wrong. This is not September weather. I keep thinking it's June. Flo came in onshore. It's so strong, an upper-level low over Central California and the one over the desert all combined to just bring those clouds in and keep them in. I had a little sun at my house out in East San Diego, but it wasn't too thrilling today, not as much as we promised, but we're nitpicking. It was a day to be out there and play a little baseball. This is out at, yes, Missile Park out here on Kearney Mesa. Not all that bad. Mount Laguna with a 72, Borrego 94, Palomar Mountain 72, low 80s for Ramona and Alpine. At least we were half right. Temperatures were a couple of degrees warmer today than they were yesterday. 83 at El Cajon, here's Escondido, mid to high 70s around Chula Vista State University. Downtown Lindberghfield 76, and we had a low of 69. Let's check out the Western States satellite map now. You can see those clouds there just drifting up from the southwest and offshore, just nagging us and hanging on right along that shoreline. Other than that, quite clear through much of the rest of the state. 74 at Los Angeles today. There is a cold front now, first of the season, I guess, the fall season coming down. Some showers up there. They expect maybe some shower activity in extreme northern California. Some showers around Denver and through the Rockies. And along this line, thunderstorms, some heavy rain in Mississippi. But the real heavy stuff was reserved for Mississippi. This is what's left of Tropical Storm Chris. Inverness and Tallulah, Mississippi, with 10 inches of rain, flash flood warnings and watches and tornado watches up through much of this area. 3 tornadoes reported in parts of Mississippi earlier today, and 91 at New Orleans. 70s and 80s up and through the northeast with lots of sun. Okay, forecast. We will have some night, morning, low clouds, and we've got to add drizzle to that now until this stuff goes away. And I'm sorry, just partial afternoon clearing tomorrow. Temperatures about the same, low to mid-70s beaches, downtown 76, and the inland valleys in the low 80s. You've had enough sun for this year, haven't you?
I know. Take all of I can get. Our closing story, we're going to meet the ringer of La Mesa, and we'll have it after this.
Imagine the feeling. Let loose. Let yourself be free. Get a great start on your road to freedom with Mazda 626. Extraordinary comfort, outstanding fuel economy, and engineering excellence. And because your San Diego County Mazda dealers want to be #1, they're making the 626 more affordable than ever. Let the Mazda men show you the road to freedom.
There's a difference, an overall difference. We double the difference at Vons.
Now there's something extra at Vons. Just pick up your something extra card. Have it punched when you make a purchase. When it's completed, receive 3 free gift certificates good towards free gifts. Great low prices, great quality. And now something extra at Vons. Great free gifts.
Overall, it's Vons.
Why do 100,000-mile flyers choose United?
I spend my life making it difficult for people to get from one place to another. That's golf. But flying on business is a different game. And I think United plays it best. They've got the places and the schedules. On United, getting there is as easy as a 3-foot putt.
The most daily non-stops to Denver, with great connections east.
Make that a 1-foot putt.
People who fly for a living fly United's friendly skies.
Fighting broke out in Beirut today. Lebanese leftists using rocket-propelled grenades ambushed a French convoy carrying tons of ammunition. The French managed to escape before their cargo exploded, but this touched off some of the worst fighting in Beirut in a month. One Lebanese soldier was killed and at least 13 others wounded. Special Prosecutor Leon Silverman is expected to release a report tomorrow on new allegations connecting Labor Secretary Raymond Donovan with organized crime. Silverman won't offer any hints of what his report contains and won't say if the investigation is over or not. We're told being close counts in only a few things. Horseshoes is one of them. For a half-century, a La Mesa man has not only been close, but more often than not, Sam Costello has been a ringer. Sam has quite a reputation, as News 8's Jesse Macias learned firsthand.
This is the way most of us throw horseshoes. But if you can play horseshoes with this kind of proficiency, then you're in the same league with California senior champion Sam Costello. Costello has been pitching the iron shoe since the 1930s, winning dozens of awards, including the California State Championship in Senior Class A. He won that event last Sunday. The 65-year-old consultant averages 400 shoe tosses every day, but when he's in competition, he will throw the equivalent of 2 tons of steel. Costello says playing horseshoes is one of the best forms of exercise.
Every night I come out and I pitch about an hour and a half. And I get loosened up, I feel good, and I stoop and pick up and toss. And I would advocate that anybody that's sitting around that wants good exercise and don't cost you any money, get yourself a pair of horseshoes, put up a couple of stakes, and throw horseshoes.
Costello will be competing with other seniors at a big tournament scheduled in 2 weeks in Balboa Park. Jesse Macias
is identical to that created by the human body. It'll be used on newly diagnosed diabetics. 6 other cities will participate in the 3-year study. A spokesperson at the San Diego Endocrine and Medical Clinic believes the new process could supply unlimited amounts of life-saving insulin for diabetics. Diabetes is the #3 killer in the U.S. today. That's tonight's subject of a new service to News Center 39 viewers called The Corner Drugstore. Pharmacist Max Lieber will explore everything from home remedies to some of the latest breakthroughs in medical science. Tonight, Max talks about certain foods and drugs to be avoided if you have diabetes.
We pharmacists fill a lot of prescriptions every day, and a lot of those prescriptions are for diabetes. And after all, diabetes is the #3 killer in the United States today. 5% of us suffer from it, and another 2% don't even know they have it. No one really knows what causes diabetes. But when you've got it, it means one of 2 things. Either the body isn't producing enough insulin, or it's not producing any insulin at all. Well, if it isn't producing enough insulin, a lot of times your doctor can correct it by diet or by taking one of the oral medications. But if your body isn't producing any insulin at all, that's when your doctor will require you to inject yourself every day with insulin. And if you do suffer from diabetes, there are a few things you have to keep in mind. When you go in to buy any type of over-the-counter product, read the label carefully or ask your pharmacist for help, because you should try to avoid products that contain alcohol, sugar, and even aspirin, because aspirin all by itself can lower blood sugar levels, and in that case it's going to make your medicine a lot stronger. And another thing I'd like you to keep in mind is to test your urine regularly, and you can do that, as we've mentioned before, by using any one of the home testing kits. But in case you got any questions as to which one to use, always check with your doctor. And you know, foot care is very important for the diabetic. He should avoid things like medicated powders and pads, and above all, avoid cutting on the feet because it could lead to a serious infection. From the corner drugstore, I'm pharmacist Max Lieber.
Coming up next, Bob Dale will clear up any questions regarding our very un-Southern California-like weather. Won't you stay with us?
Kids need a lot of your time.
Give him time. Let him take it.
And all of your patience. But there's something they don't need. They don't need caffeine. That's why we created a new cola, introducing Like. Like doesn't add caffeine like the leading colas. Like gets its excitement from full, rich cola taste.
Next time you'll both be bigger.
You don't need caffeine, and neither does your cola.
Take a closer look at Safeway. Take a closer look. You'll see lower prices in every Safeway store.
Safeway has lowered prices. We've always brought you guaranteed quality and great selection. Now we bring it to you for less. Take a closer look at Safeway and check out our lower prices.
It pays to take a closer look at Safeway.
Add more years to your life and more life to your years at Family Fitness Centers. You can shape up and trim down with over 1,000 gymnastic, aerobic, and dance classes each month. And we feature 10 times more life cycles and 10 times more equipment than any other facilities in San Diego.
And equipment that really gets results.
With 70% off our daytime rates, you can join for only $59 one-time initiation fee and $5 monthly dues. Family Fitness Center. Why settle for less?
Tony McCune, let me be blunt. Without the wine and violins, McCune sells honest used cars at a price, many below Kelly Wholesale Blue Book. The proof, sharp buyers came to McCune. They saw, they drove, they saved, and they bought. I can't promise you the moon, but I can promise you there's only one dog on this lot, and she's just not for sale. McCune Chrysler Plymouth, National City Mile of cars.
The Flynn's remodeler left them out in the cold? Don't let it happen to you. Remodel with Mr. Build and get a completion bond. You'll know the job will be completed. Call Mr. Build.
Well, it's an interesting theory, but it's just not true. That's the response of a Washington State researcher to reports that the eruption of Mount St. Helens led to a baby boom. Now, some hospitals in the volcano area did report an increase in births 9 months after the May 1980 eruption. But researcher Patricia Starzyk says the birth rate was just about the same as it had been the year before. So there goes another theory.
And our weather was just about the same today as it was the day before.
No baby boom
today. It's
called
a segue.
No, but listen, blizzards cause a baby boom. Blizzards really do. First time I saw it happen was in 1950 in Cleveland. Some of you folks remember? Because the whole city got paralyzed with a huge snowstorm. Nobody could leave their homes. And we were on the air because the transmitter was still on. We were snowed in. 9 months later, I still get letters from kids that have been named Roberta, Dale, Daleen. Honestly. But right now... You were in the station all that. Yes. Around the country, though, everybody is trying to sing a song, Try to Remember a Nice September, because September usually, even in the Midwest, is gorgeous. It almost always is for us. But not now. And take a look at clear Florida, friends, because there is a whomping tropical storm called Debbie bearing down on the Bahamas and moving northwest, and that could easily threaten Florida and the coastline of Georgia. But here's what's happening to us. This upper level low is that they're not complete circles, but all low pressure system, whether one on the surface here or one aloft, they all generally go counterclockwise and in. So that is what's bringing all of this cold, snow, and blizzard conditions into the northern Rockies. As a matter of fact, they have traveler's advisories out for southern Idaho, heavy snow along the Montana and Wyoming border. A foot was on the ground at 1 p.m. at Lander, Wyoming, and then winter storm warnings are out from south central down to north central Wyoming. But how does this all affect us? Because they are not circles, and upper level lows have what I call gutters, just like a bowling alley. And as it extends down over the water, that's gathering in this thick marine layer of cloudiness. And it's moving towards the coast, and for the next 36, 48 hours, perhaps it'll keep coming on in. and that's what's giving us all the cloudiness. Now, fortunately, this system now, if this was wintertime, would be bringing rain down from the northwest, and that's our normal rain season. But this is cold, dry air, so we'll get the cloudiness, maybe a little drizzle, and cooler temperatures. And also there is a high-pressure, dry area behind it, pushing it in towards the coast as well. Okay, this is the mess right here. Now, you think high pressure doesn't have a bulge? Look at it as it's pushing this leading edge by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's Pacific time, and reaching all the way up into Maine. But as it pushes down, all heck is breaking loose, because you cannot take 35 for Helena, that was the low 28 at West Yellowstone, taking that cold air and bang it into 90-degree temperature without exploding. It has to do so. So severe thunderstorm watches are up to 6 o'clock from central Missouri all the way to central Iowa, or Illinois, I beg your pardon, and 1 inch of rain in 15 minutes in Lansing, Michigan, so they have flooding going on there. Homes have been damaged in southeastern Kentucky. Up to 5 inches of rain have fallen there already. Wind damage to homes in St. Louis, Missouri. Roofs taken off. 70-mile-an-hour winds from the thunderstorms in Mexico, Missouri. That's near Columbia, about 30 miles north, I believe. And that is going to go all the way across up to the Ohio Valley, up into the Great Lakes. You're going to get it into Detroit and Cleveland, and also into Pennsylvania, moving on up into New England, and possibly down into North Carolina as well. And here's this tropical storm Debbie I was telling you about right here that could give them a very bad time. Right now, this high pressure is holding things off, but that'll move off from the Carolinas. And then they're going to get down into Texas as well. They have to. That 99 was for Presidio yesterday, I do believe. And it's raining at 57 in Honolulu and cloudy. No, that's Anchorage. There's Honolulu, 88 and cloudy in Honolulu. All right, now let's go back to last night. And here's all your snow and cloud activity. You can just barely see the marine deck right here for us. But let's move it on through now, through the day. And you can see how it's intensifying up here. We look okay, but here's something I do want to keep my eye on. And talk about an eye. You see the center right there? That is Hurricane Norman. He now has wind gusts of up to about 110 miles an hour, and that doggone thing is starting to move more northward, northwest, about like so. And that's about the closest one we've had. Here we are right here. So that bears watching. I mean, no danger or threat to us as yet, but you do have to watch out for it. So now the night morning low clouds will go all the way into the coastal slopes of the mountains. And if you want to find the sunshine, he's playing hide and seek. And here I am, out here in the mountains and the deserts. Incidentally, you could get, with all that marine air and that cool air pushing in, some westerly wind gusts, maybe up to 30 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon. Now, it's thick enough it could leak. I was talking to Billy D. Allen just a moment ago at the Weather Bureau, and he was talking to a pilot coming into Miramar. And he said, boy, you guys are right on the money, because the deck is from 3,000 feet, and the top is up here at 5,000 feet. And that's all marine air. And we get a breeze now from the west at 8, and that's starting to come in. So the drizzle chance will be mostly inland, and you can see the temperatures are cooler, and they'll probably stay that way. Matter of fact, it was hardly worth the effort of the thermometer. I mean, it's just wearing out one little spot in the middle, going up and down 4 degrees. 74 and 70, that averages out to 72, should be 70 because of the high nighttime temperatures, but all this cloudiness is like a big blanket. It's an insulator, and then the sun can't burn through. Maybe we get about a 10-watt bulb this afternoon. 66% relative humidity. Present temperature at Limerick Field is 73, and the barometer is steady at 29.90 inches. Surf 2 to 3 feet, not much going there. 69 degrees for the water temperature at Mission Beach. So as far as the forecast is concerned, ooh, that's a pretty shot. Not too much change coming for us for the next day or two. It'll be mostly cloudy in the mornings all the way to Thursday. That's from the coast to the mountain slopes, clearing off in the mountain slopes a little earlier in the morning. And then partial clearing in the afternoon, and that's about the temperature range for tomorrow. Cool, but a lot nicer than being up there in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Chicago, anyplace else.
And that
I'm convinced.
The next Santa Ana may be just around the corner anyway, right?
That's true.
U.S. car makers are falling into another big slump. We'll have that story just ahead.
And Sarah Wallace will check out the inside information on getting the best deal when you buy a car.
This was really worth getting up for.
You know, it's the first time we've had a chance to talk since we got here.
Do I taste cinnamon?
Uh-huh. It's Cafe Vienna, one of General Foods' international coffees.
It's perfect in the morning.
Mine's Cafe Francais. It's so smooth and light.
You know, this is so nice. Think we ought to let the guys in on it?
Nah, let them sleep. This is our time.
With General Foods International Coffees.
Hi, I'm Andy Granatelli. I run Tune-Up Masters, and our customers are our biggest boosters.
When I did get my tune-up,
I noticed the mechanic worked very hard on my car. And when I left Tune-Up Masters, I noticed I felt like I was driving a brand new Cadillac, and this car was 8 years old. I even made a U-turn to go back and thank the mechanic and thank them for the wonderful job they did.
So bring your car to Tune-Up Masters. I know you'll be satisfied, or my name isn't Andy Granatelli.
Hello? Uncle Ralph! It's Uncle Ralph, long distance from California. Ooh, I'll talk fast. This call must be expensive.
Oh, no. If I call... You can make a 20-minute state-to-state call this weekend for only $4.06 or less, including tax, if you dial direct. No. Let me talk to that little fella, huh?
Jen, say hello to your Uncle Ralph. Hello, Uncle Ralph.
Reach out this weekend and save.
Computer technology is a rapidly growing field with excellent pay and security. You could be part of it. If you qualify, you can learn to diagnose and repair sophisticated electronic computers. Coleman College has a free booklet that tells you what computer training can do for you. Call Coleman College at 465-3990 for your free booklet. It's Coleman for Computers. Coleman College is a non-profit college.
If you're worried about rising business costs, let your fingers do the walking to MCI and cut your long-distance costs down to size.
U.S. automakers are having a bad month so far. General Motors says its car sales are down more than 30% for the first 10 days of September compared to a year ago. Ford Motor Company reports a 23% drop in sales for that same period. And Chrysler Corporation says its sales have dropped close to 30% in the beginning of September. Things may get a lot worse for Chrysler tonight at midnight. The UAW is threatening to strike if an agreement is not reached by then. Laura?
You may not know this, I didn't know this, but this is traditionally the best time of the year to buy a new car, since dealers are getting in their 1983s and need to unload the 82s. That may be even more true with the slow sales market. Sarah Wallace checked it out, and she's here with some advice. Sarah?
Laura, actually, it's probably very true if you're in the market for an American car. Discounts on 82 models may now range from 5 to 30%, but it's not so true for foreign cars, since demand for all overseas models is so high. Keep in mind, if you are thinking American, in a couple of months, an 82 will be considered a year old, and that means a drop in market value of about 20%. No big deal if you plan to keep the car for a while, but if you're buying one with investment in mind, an 83 is probably a better bet.
First off, you want to have an idea of the type of car you want to buy, whether it's going to be big, whether it's going to be small, two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all the different options. In making this choice, you want to look at many of the publications that have done research for you on this topic. For example, Consumer Reports magazines, Road and Track, Motor Trend. These organizations have spent millions of dollars testing cars, and as a consumer, you ought to take advantage of their research so that you go in looking at a car already knowing what the researchers have said about it.
Set an upper price of what you'll pay, then bargain. Go back and forth among dealers until you get the best price. Don't forget, it's a buyer's market now, at least for American cars. Sales are generally down.
At the same time, if you're going to be trading in a used car, you want to make sure that you know what the Blue Book value on that used car is, so that when you get your trade in, you'll know whether or not you're being offered market value for a used car.
Always go for a test drive. And beware of sales tricks.
One of them is called lowballing. Lowballing is when the sales representative quotes you a lower price for a new car you're purchasing, but then puts a higher price on the contract itself, saying that the sales manager won't let him sell the car at the lower rate.
Then there's highballing, where you agree on a certain price for your trade-in, but the sales rep comes back after supposedly talking to the manager and says he won't let him take the trade-in at that price. On your contract, watch for add-ons. Sometimes extras included in the car already are added on to the contract, so you're paying for them twice. Also, remember, dealers make their biggest profit on options, so if you can live without them, you'll save dollars. If you can't, bargain here as well. And one final tip, never buy a new car on impulse. Better be sure you want it, because as soon as you drive it off the lot as your own, it becomes a used car and must be sold as such for a lot less money. If you want more information on buying a new car, write me, Sarah Wallace, care of Check It Out, P.O. Box 11039, San Diego, California, 92111, and we'll send you a handy pamphlet that includes a lot of good advice.
One question, Sarah. What about if you're interested in buying a diesel?
Diesels do have better gas mileage, but they also cost a little bit more. Experts say if you're going to drive about 25,000 miles a year and keep the car a long time, a diesel's probably worth it, otherwise it's not.
Sounds good for Southern California. Thank you, Sarah. Paul?
A former Charger has found a new home. Phil Stone will tell us about that and more next in sports.
Now, at C&R, every suit on sale. Thousands of new fall arrivals. Famous Italian designer suits in pure wool, pinstripes, and solids. C&R sale price only $177. Fine wool and wool blends, hand-tailored, fully lined. Sale price only $146. The fall favorite, comfortable corduroy suits, now $90. For a limited time, every suit on sale in all 36 C&R stores.
Soccer Bowl 82. The championship of the North American Soccer League will be decided Saturday, September 18th at San Diego Stadium. All seats are reserved and are priced at $12, $10, $8, and $6. Charged by phone by calling 280-0280. It's soccer at its best. Soccer Bowl 82 at San Diego Stadium. Saturday, September 18th. Kickoff at 6 o'clock.
Saving money can still be as much fun as it used to be with the Subaru Brat. Because right now, the Brat is the lowest priced front-wheel to on-demand four-wheel drive open-back import in America. And just look at that mileage. See your local Subaru dealer for a test drive. Because with the Brat, you get more fun for the money.
Experience the Subaru difference at these Subaru dealers throughout the county.
Computers for the home are really popular items. But which one's right for you? These? Powerful but very expensive. These? You want more software cartridges. This? Can't expand or program it right away. Which leaves this, the home computer from Texas Instruments. Memory, programmability, expandability, price. Plus a full range of software cartridges. This is the one.
The home computer from Texas Instruments.
Sir, Jim Laslovic is a heck of a nice guy, and it's good to see him find a new job.
You know, he told me just before he left San Diego, Paul, he says, you know, Phil, he says, I am in the best condition of my life, bar none, and I can't find a job. He says, I am really down. He says, I am going to pick up with somebody. I'm really glad. He is a super guy, Paul. Chargers took the day off, but one former guy found something to do, as Paul said, Jim Laslovic signing on with the Green Bay Packers. He'll be in uniform for next Monday's game against the New York Giants. As for Sam McCullum, he was the player rep who was cut by Seattle last week. Well, word is Sam is very close to signing with the Minnesota Vikings. In fact, officials there are so confident they've already ordered a jersey with Sam's name on it. The Steelers laid it on Dallas last night. Terry Bradshaw was in midseason form. He hit John Stallworth here. The Cowboys came right back and scored on this 4-yard pitch from Danny White to Drew Pearson. But Terry just kept chucking them all night long. This one to Jimmy Smith was right where it had to be because Everson Walls was right on Jimmy's heels. White ran into big problems in the second half. Here he is intercepted after the pass was tipped in the air. Rick Woods on the receiving end. He had 2 picked off, and Danny also had a punt block. Meanwhile, Terry just kept on throwing all night at Irving. This one found Jim Smith again. The final 36-28 Steelers. Dallas loses their first opening day game in 18 years. NFL team owners have had the policy all summer long of not saying anything regarding the possibility of a players' strike. It's sort of one of those self-imposed gag rules. But last night, Philadelphia Eagles owner Leonard Tost decided enough is enough. He says the players' union is not telling the truth to the players regarding the owner's latest contract offer.
The players have also argued that it's a bribe, and my answer to that is, what the hell do they want, titles or money? If they want titles, well, I'll make them all executive vice presidents.
Well, he does that. I'll take the money. Last night's Padre game was one of those games that could easily stay with the guys for the rest of the season. This base hit by Pedro Guerrero put the Dodgers up 3-2 in the 7th. Now in the 8th, Rupert's fly ball to center allowed Gene Richards all the time he needed to score from third base. Richards was 5 for 7 last night. And watch this. He caught this Dusty Baker drive in the bottom of the 9th. It would have won it for Los Angeles. Go get it, Gino. The Padres had their leadoff runner on in the third base in the 10th and 12th. They could not get him in, so here in the 16th with 2 outs, Steve Garvey took Chris Welch over the wall and left. Dodgers won it 4-3 to move into first place by a half game over the Atlanta Braves. Philadelphia, Steve Carlton became the first 20-game winner in the majors last night. He struck out 12 Cardinal batters and then decided to pour a little salt in the wound. This is Carlton at the plate. Goodbye, his second home run of the year, the final 2-0 Phillies, but more importantly, Phils are now back atop by 1/2 game over the St. Louis Cardinals. The Angels stayed 1 behind the Royals thanks to a 6-4 win over the Sox. Reggie's base hit here scored Ron Carew. Juan Benitez followed with a home run that cleared the wall in left field. And then Freddie Lynn continued a tremendous season. A 2-run single here in the 7th was the finishing touch. The Angels over the Chicago White Sox 6-4. Ever hear of the sport shoe swinging? Well, you might not know it by that name, but I have a pretty good hunch you'll recognize it. Take a look at shoe swinging Sammy Costello. The sights and sounds of weekend picnics all across America. I suppose all of us at some time in our lives has pitched these things, but not the way La Mesa's Sammy Costello does. You see, Sammy is a professional horseshoe swinger. Says the words tossing, pitching, or throwing are foreign to him. Swinging horseshoes is the proper terminology. And Sammy ought to know he's one of the finest swingers around. He's the California Seniors Class A champ. He won the Southern Cal B and C championships 5 times. He's won just about every local tournament there is. And he was the Chicago City Parks champ 5 times during the 30s and 40s. That's where Sammy first learned to swing shoes.
The fire departments in Chicago usually have a handball court and a horseshoe court to keep their men exercised at all times. So I was so fascinated the way they were throwing those shoes, and I asked if I could throw a few shoes. And I watched the way they threw the shoes, and finally I got the gist of it. And what happened within a year, I beat the firehouse champion.
They're called horseshoes, but they're really not anymore. Just like other sports, horseshoes has evolved into more than that picnic version we played as youngsters.
This is called a 1 1/4 turn shoe. And it entails proper stance, the pendulum swing, the timing, and the release. So basically, there's about 5 mechanics when you throw the shoe.
Sammy is 65. He says he's just now reaching his peak. In fact, he encourages other senior citizens to get out and swing a little.
For those out there, the senior citizens, if you want a good sport that doesn't cost you money and you want good, healthful exercise, I would highly advocate get yourself a pair of horseshoes, put up a couple of stakes in the backyard, and that walking and stooping and picking up and throwing those shoes will do you a world of good.
Sammy Costello, what a delightful individual. He told me I am a flopper, not a swinger. The greatest soccer player perhaps of all time will be at the stadium tonight. Pelé will join members of the New York Cosmos and the Seattle Sounders for a soccer clinic and an autograph session. The whole thing is free, begins at 6:30, will last about an hour at the stadium. Tonight's festivities are the first of several events planned to boost interest in this Saturday's Soccer Bowl here in San Diego. So far, only a little over 13,000 seats have been sold. An early look at sports on a Tuesday. It's funny, I never regarded myself as a flopper.
We took a vote. We decided that you're a ringer.
That I'm not.
Queen Elizabeth may be planning a trip to sunny Southern California. That and more still to come on News Center.
When you're in front of a camera, a pretty face certainly helps. But to stand out in today's world, you've got to be somebody.
So I take care of my body the Jack LaLanne way.
It's fun. And it works.
Right now's our 19th anniversary 2-for-1 special. 2 years or 2 people for the price of 1.
Being somebody begins right here, the Jack LaLanne way.
Hello, I'm Lou Grubb. Whether it's true or not, I can remember years ago, if you really wanted to buy fresh fruits and vegetables, you'd drive out in the country, not only because they were fresh, they were cheaper. Well, we're really not way out in the country here in Poway, and we don't sell fruits and vegetables, but we do sell Toyotas and Chevys. Let us show you that it can be cheaper in the country. Visit us here at Lou Grubb Chevrolet in Poway and Toyota of Poway.
Why are you drinking decaffeinated coffee?
Because I should.
Try this coffee.
Oh?
It's new.
Tastes good, but I really should drink it decaffeinated.
This is decaffeinated.
This is decaffeinated?
New decaffeinated Hills Brothers.
Are you putting me on? I mean, are you really saying?
If you're still drinking decaffeinated coffee because you should, here's one you'll drink because it tastes good. New decaffeinated Hills Brothers coffee.
Oh, that's good. Shh, don't tell anybody else.
Trident's got news, big news. Trident's big news is tastier chews.
Introducing new improved flavored Trident with more great taste than ever before.
Big news.
Tastier spearmint. Tastier cinnamon. Tastier fruit.
Tastier chews. Big news. Big news.
And 4 out of 5 dentists surveyed recommend sugarless gum for their patients who chew gum.
The big news is tastier chews.
New Trident.
More great taste than ever before.
Horizon House, helping young adults who have experienced emotional problems find a new way of life. Professionally staffed Horizon House offers 24-hour residential care, group and individual counseling in a warm family setting. Horizon House is self-supporting and needs your help. If you would like more information about this unique program, write Horizon House, Post Office Box 1883, Spring Valley, California, 92077, or call 460-0183.
Are you or anyone you know trying to cope with the problem of a life-threatening illness? Then join Make Today Count, a mutual support group of people who share your experience. Call us for meeting times and locations at 299-6010 and make today count.
Although Buckingham Palace is being characteristically tight-lipped on details, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip will spend 10 days visiting the West Coast next February. The royal couple accepted President Reagan's invitation for the visit. Paul?
NBC Nightly News is coming up at 6 p.m., followed at 6:30 by News Center 39's Top Story. Kathy Clark's on the News Center with a preview of that. Kathy?
Paul, tonight we will examine the proposed new shipyard in San Diego Bay. One of the major contenders to build the $25 million facility has now pulled out of the bidding. Todd Shipyards of New York may have been forced out by the Navy's home port policy, but critics of the Port Commission say some commissioners helped Todd out the door. And we'll talk live with the mayor of National City and Commissioner Maureen O'Connor, also with Congressman Duncan Hunter, live by satellite from Washington. And our closing piece tonight, Whitney Southwick on the temporary escape of a famous orangutan. Dennis Morgino and I will have those stories tonight on Top Story at 6:30.
Thank you, Kathy. Tonight we have letters from our viewers. Here is editorial director Tim Chelling with feedback.
We received a couple of interesting letters after a recent editorial supported bail for Benjamin Sassway. Archie Hinson of El Cajon writes, do you honestly know the definition, the intent, etc. of the law on sedition? Do you? The Oxford American Dictionary defines sedition as words or actions that make people rebel against the authority of the government. Your act of turning a microphone over to the seditionists Sassway and Berrigan was sedition. On an equally controversial subject, Hiram Wood of San Diego writes, before you support S-2786, which would prohibit offshore oil drilling, please inform me and the public how and where the United States is going to become energy self-sufficient without burning oil and gas. And don't give me that baloney about solar and wind power replacing fossil fuels, even in your lifetime. I don't deny that a drilling oil leak is a possibility and that the presence of oil refineries and tanks is not as pleasant a sight as SeaWorld. Frankly, I don't think Tijuana is very pretty, but crowds flock there daily. Are you trying to say that Southern California does not need to increase its energy supply? Think again. We welcome your opinions on editorials, whatever they may be. Send them to us in care of editorials, Post Office Box 11039, San Diego 92111.
We're going to have this repo sale now for the whole month of September. Remember our two locations, National City on the Malacars and El Cajon Boulevard. in San Diego. $19.95 for a nice Dodge Dart. Another 73 Dodge Dart for $15.95. $9.95 for this Town and Country wagon. A nice Oldsmobile Omega for $15.95. You come to Camillo Motors, and if you have some sort of an income that proves you can pay for the car, that's all we care.
After I've used soap, my face feels dry and leathery. I used Dove for 7 days, and now it feels pretty darn good.
We asked women across America to give up their ordinary soap and take the Dove 7-day test.
I just figured I had dry skin and that was that. But with Dove, my skin wasn't dry and I didn't need to use a moisturizer.
Dove is 1/4 moisturizing cream. It can give you softer, smoother skin in 7 days.
I don't believe anyone would use soap anymore after using Dove.
For softer, smoother skin, switch to Dove.
Today, millions of Americans are suffering from a disease they won't even admit they have. The disease is alcoholism. And alcoholism kills. But with treatment, drinking can be stopped. Of course, no one approach works for everyone, but every alcoholic needs to seek help. If you're an alcoholic, you don't have to call Raleigh Hills, but you've got to call someone.
The toughest phone call you'll ever make is the one that can save your life. Call Raleigh Hills now.
An Old Spice man always gets a warm welcome wherever he lands. Because Old Spice is the clean, fresh, masculine scent so many women love. So even if you love only one woman, you'll love Old Spice. The men's scent so many women love.
Oh, hello, I'm Tim Conway. You know, it kind of amazes me to hear people say that kids using drugs or alcohol is just a fad, because it's a fad that's breaking up millions of families all over the country. It's destroying those families and the lives of the people around those families. Don't let it happen to your family. Be sure and give Freeway a call. They can help.
Call 459-2942.
Hey, did you know that 1/3 of your homeowner's insurance goes to pay for arson losses? Don't clown around with arson. If you have any information about an arson fire, call the San Diego Fire Department Anonymous Arson Hotline at 236-STOP. You don't have to give your name.
San Diego's top quarterback is joining a new team. Charger Dan Fouts is joining scientists who are conducting marine research. Karen Dalton reports.
When Charger place kicker Ralph Bernershka does this, it helps an animal like this. Now when quarterback Dan Fouts passes one of these, it will help an animal like this. Dan Fouts has been drafted by the Hubs SeaWorld Research Institute team. His position will be similar to the one Bernershka plays for research connected with the zoo. Fouts will help the Hubs SeaWorld Institute raise money for research.
The Dan Fouts Marine Research Fund will help establish a financial base for the scientists here at SeaWorld and the Hubs Research Institute to where they can go out and do their own studies without having to rely on outside money from whether it's the government or from private businesses or from colleges.
The money will go for such research projects as tide pool studies, environmental counseling, bioacoustics. And the funds would also go for a study called aquaculture. For example, in this tank there are some striped bass. They are being raised by the Institute and they will soon be released into the bay to establish a new striped bass fishery in San Diego.
What we're going to do is donate $100 for every touchdown pass I throw. And if I happen to be fortunate enough to run a ball into the end zone for a touchdown, I'm going to donate $500 for that.
Those involved with the new Marine Research Fund say any and every contribution is welcome. They're hoping today's kickoff announcement will get the project off to a good start. From Mission Bay, Karen Dalton, News Center 39.
That's it for News Center. Be sure to watch Top Story at 6:30.
Phil says it's interesting. Fouts is helping out the Dolphins all of a sudden. Hard to believe.
Last year.
I'll be
Never
back
thought
at
of
11.
that.
Good night.
Good night.
cut loops, deep plushes, decorator colors. Carpeteria's got them all. Hi, I'm Jimmy Rogers, and take a look at these prices. $6.99. Now that's what I call everyday low discount prices for such quality. And you can order today and have it installed today. What kind of a deal is that? No deal. Just part of Carpeteria's everyday low discount policy.
5 San Diego locations on East Main and El Cajon, on Rosecrans and Midway in Point Loma, and on Claremont Mesa Boulevard in Kearny Mesa.
California has some 200 accredited institutions of higher education, but there's one that doesn't think like the old school, with a unique one-course-a-month study plan that can work around your schedule, evening classes throughout Southern California, and degree programs in a variety of fields, including business, education, and law. Earn your degree from the university that's in a class by itself. National University, changing the course of education.
Classes begin September 27th.
Buy the lowest price truck in America.
You hear that? Everybody claims they have the lowest price.
Mike and Carol, the NFL strikes continue. The talks continue, rather, in a very heated fashion, but without player rep Ed Garvey. The division-leading Atlanta Braves are in town to finish up the season with the Padres over the weekend. And the Clippers, the NBA's most eligible team, start training camp at North Island Naval Air Station. We'll have details on all those stories in just a couple of minutes. But right now, here's Mike Smith with a Sports Extra on a sport most of us play only at picnics.
These are just a few of the awards Sam Costello has won pitching horseshoes over the last 48 years. The most recent was the California Senior A-Class title last month in Southgate. Now, at first glance, you might think the key to winning in this game is a steady hand. Well, not so, says Sam.
Concentration. They say usually when you reach about 65, you start to lose your proficiency. But I find I'm 65 now, Mike, and I'm pitching the best in my horseshoe pitching career right now.
Sam has perfected his sport to the point where he has mastered many trick shots. One of them is pitching to a blind stake.
The tricks that the old pros way back have used, and once you develop that 40-foot arm and control with a little bit of concentration, you find your mark, just like the fellow that throws knives at a girl that's right on the dartboard. I mean.
Sam has developed some of his own trick shots and has borrowed some from others, but there is one he said I would really like.
I probably will maybe have you straddle the stake a little later on, and I'll put some ringers between your legs while you straddle the stake.
Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and you want me just to stand.
Straddle, that's it.
Just like this, and I look at this, and I smile. They won't get me, he says. Now, I volunteered to try my hand at that trick, but Sam said he had some old horseshoes that needed polishing. Mike Smith, 10 News, Sports Extra, La Mesa.
There'll be a lot more of those horseshoes flying around in Poway this weekend as the rodeo comes up there for powwow days. We'll have all the sports in just a few minutes.
All right, we look forward to that. Good to have you here.